Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Straight Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Straight Talk, we're there to political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Joining me tonight,
Charles Thomas.
Dennis Burnside.
Paget Maynard.
So we got a lot to cover. One of the things is that we got Malcolm. We got a thing for Malcolm. The date has it been set or not?
No, it's next month, the third Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be the 22nd of August.
Yeah.
22nd. 22nd of September, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, September. Yeah. And we got Charles Moore.
Charles Moore will be making a presentation on economic development of the black community. We will also have a presentation on the history of the Garveyite movement and Marcus Garvey. That'll either be presented by me or Dr. Willie Davis. I also met a gentleman. I didn't even tell you guys about this. I went to a program Saturday at the public library that was on Marcus Garvey. In fact, I saw Ahmad there before he had to leave. And after the meeting was over, I was speaking to this older gentleman. Turns out he's a history professor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we chopped it up for quite a while. And he may be interested in making a presentation. So I'm going to give him a call. And if it works for his calendar, we'll work on something that's appropriate for the celebration. Yeah. But he knew Malcolm's family, and a very knowledgeable guy, and I think he'll make a good contribution.
Wow, that's a plus.
And it's the third Saturday or fourth?
Fourth Saturday.
Fourth Saturday?
Yeah,
okay.
That'll be the fourth Saturday of that month.
Shabazz Academy.
Always the fourth Saturday.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Paget. You got the news and everything from the whole weekend, so give us a little bit of it. You know.
Okay.
You were saying that.
If we look at what's going on in Washington this week.
All right.
A new revelation. Truth is not truth. Now my question is, if it is not truth, what is it?
It's a lie.
And the explanation for truth is not truth, Giuliani. Well, any good lawyer will tell his client not to speak the truth when he goes in, to testify, because somebody else might come and testify and say something different. So in that way, you wouldn't look too bad. So, well, truth is, you got one thing and the other one got another thing, and well, what is it? So now, for me, truth is absolute. It's either true or false. Now, there's this whole philosophy about relativity. It's relative. It all depends on who and where and what. But I see truth as
Absolute.
period, punctuate that. It's there. It is what it is. Now, you are a black man. I had said in the previous section we did that you'll always be black. Yes, I can't change that. Truth, you can't change it. When something happens, then you didn't change what was true then. Now you add to that or something of the sort. Now, I know you guys going to take me on that, so go ahead.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Well, we just live in a time where liars and prevaricators rule. You know, this type of environment or culture that we live in now was predicted by books like Animal Farm and others in the 70s, 60s, and 70s when these books were written, even the 50s, I believe, where they talked about how truth is what I say it is. It's not what it is. I can take a sentence which has a very explicit, plain meaning and turn that around and mean what I want it to mean. So when you live in these times, and again, they were predicted by fiction. That another book, 1984, talked about this very same thing. It should be no surprise, again, if you know your history. So you can have a person like Giuliani say, truth is not truth. You can have a woman like Kellyanne Conway say, we have alternative facts. You can have a Supreme Court justice nominated like Kavanaugh, who has lied under oath. No two ways to describe it. The man has literally lied under oath. He's also made several controversial statements in public settings where it's well documented, either by film or writing, and the Republican Party will not let the Democrats even have access to those files so that they may not be revealed, so that this man may go through his hearing unscathed. You see the same thing now with the politicization of security clearance, where if the president decides that he doesn't like the truth that you're telling, if he doesn't like the truth that you're advocating for, he'll try to punish you by taking away your security clearance. And he claims that it's some type of financial reward he's taking from you, because we have a reality show, game show television. That's his mental state, and his IQ is not room temperature, so he's not very bright. But if you can tell a man that you can't contribute to the well-being of our national security because I don't like what you said about me. We don't live in a democracy, we live in an oligarchy. And I'll leave it with this. We had a gentleman, name escapes me now, who was put under oath a few weeks ago and asked to explain some of the comments that he made to his girlfriend via text about the campaign in 2016, where he criticized all the candidates. He criticized Bernie Sanders, he criticized Hillary Clinton, and he also had some very pointed things to say about Trump, who didn't like what he said. Now, this man worked on the Aldridge case, and through years of surreptitious observation and careful work, he not only exposed Aldridge Ames, I believe his name was, but he also cut out this entire Russian apparatus that was attempting to undermine U.S. interests. This very man is the top expert on Soviet, or not Soviet, but Russian intelligence and what they try to do to undermine U.S. interests. And what's happened to him? He's been fired. Even after the recommendation for the words he said were caught on text in the privacy of his own conversation with his mistress were deemed to be not very serious, and he should be suspended for a while. He was fired, and he was fired for political reasons because Agent Orange, the Russian traitor Twitler, didn't like what he said about him. If that's allowed to stand, if other people who've had their pension taken away the weekend they were about to become eligible for retirement, and other people have had their rights as employees of the government who were doing work to keep us all safe. If we allow the Fox News crowd to carry the narrative and tell us that Twitler knows better what we need, and if you speak out against Twitler, you're not patriotic and you're not loyal to the United States of America, then we're goose stepping into 1939.
Well, you know, one guy is likely to be fired simply because of his wife. It's not something he did or didn't do. But he's married to this person. And therefore, that's reason enough to take his clearance.
Correct.
Without the clearance, he cannot do his job.
Yeah.
So now if I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs because I can't perform my duties since you prevent me from having access to the information I need to do my job, the next step is you're out. And you know, Trump likes to say you're fired. But the truth is, Trump is the one who needs to be fired because he is creating such a mess. Now, former intelligence officers, like the Brennan and folks like himself, they've always been allowed to keep the clearance, provided everything else is okay, so that those in office would have the ability to go to them when there is a situation.
That's right.
Yeah, good help.
I can go to you. Now, I don't know about the South.
Right.
Ahmad, you're from down there. I could come and ask, Ahmad, what is it in your area there?
Right.
Now, you could come and ask me about my country
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because I know something about there.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump cannot see the value of having people available.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you cut all of these people off, what we left with? Nothing.
Well-
and then bear in mind, those people that Trump has in there are totally inexperienced and ignorant.
Well, see, the thing about it, man, when he was gathering these people, we said it all back then. None of the ones he's that's got these different jobs has ever
know
done
what
it
they
before.
doing. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
all them people, you know, and you know, his backers didn't know it, but that's what
Yeah.
he was doing.
Well, see, that was in Putin's playbook
Yeah.
to turn America upside down
Mm-hmm.
and establish fear,
Mm-hmm.
so that he can propagate and
Yeah.
do what is undermine
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
even the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, these people are really afraid of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just sad. But this is on white folks as far as I'm concerned, because they trying to they put this man in office,
Mm-hmm.
and then they trying to justify or their silence as to what this man is obvious. Ray Charles can see what's going on
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
with
yeah.
this idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know that all these, you know, he put if you was a scientist, he put you over here someplace where
Yeah.
you didn't know nothing about
Yeah.
that.
Public housing.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way he's done. And see, the thing is that a lot of us could see when he was doing that,
Yeah.
what he was doing that for. So he would be the only one could tell them, oh, you do that, and you do
Yeah.
this, and you do this.
Right. That's what I see when he put his siblings in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, because
yeah.
they'll run back and tell them everything
Right,
that
right.
happened in the
Yeah,
boardroom.
yeah.
And they didn't have secret clearances.
Right. You
But
know?
he said, "Daddy this, Daddy that."
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But
And
you know, when you look back, there's so many things so very wrong with this administration. Now, if what he did to Brennan was okay, why is it that almost 200 people coming out? I mean, these are people who have been in the know, who have done the job,
Have security
Republicans and
clearance.
Democrats
Yeah.
alike.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it these people who had security clearances are coming out strongly in favor of Brennan? Something is wrong.
Yeah.
But then, how many Republicans in the Congress, whether the House or the Senate, you heard saying, Donald, you are wrong?
Look,
Yeah. They don't want to tell the truth.
the only people who are saying anything about it is the ones who not running for election. Every one of them that's running for election, oh well, I think he should have done it. And they it's, you know, because now you see he's got this 31 to 33% of you know, people who gonna vote for him anyway, who gonna no matter what he do, gonna say, "Oh, he's right." That's what they looking for support from. You know, those are the people, and then maybe they can get a little bit more support. But all the people who disagree with him out loud are the only people who are running. I mean, people who are leaving after this term.
You talking about the Republicans?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things going on there, and I think we need to pay attention to this. At the same time that Boris and Natasha was spying on the Democrats, they were also spying on the Republicans, and they took a lot of information down about the Republicans. You've had hawks who didn't have a good thing to say about the Soviet Union or the Russians for years, like Rand Paul, like Lindsey Graham and others. All of a sudden, they're running to Russia to have meetings, and they're coming back, and they're saying that we shouldn't be so mean to Putin, and we shouldn't be so rough on Trump. Well, you know, again, it doesn't take a neuroscientist, and even that's been discredited because of my man, the coon.
From Detroit.
The other coon.
That coon. That was a brain surgeon. Now he's running public housing. What a disgrace.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Lindsey Graham and many of these others are being blackmailed. They have compromise. The Russians invented that word, and it's compromise. And as far as Americans being afraid of Trump, nah. Most Americans hate Trump. If you look at the numbers, 57% say Trump is unqualified. 75% of Americans say the Mueller investigation to be allowed to be completed without any obstruction. I think what we're seeing is many Americans, because the Mueller investigation is being run the right way, without leaks, completely disciplined, without any comment, people take that lack of noise that they're used to be a lack of action. And they also think that what Trump is doing is getting away with anything he wants to. When the plain fact of the matter is, Trump is panicked. Trump is scared out of his wit. If there's anybody who's afraid, it's Agent Orange. He sees what's going on. He's had 2 attorneys turn on him. Dan McGahn, just in the New York Times this weekend, was quoted as saying, "I've been cooperating with Mueller for months. No holds barred, no parameters, anything he asked me, I'm spilling." This is Trump's White House attorney. Then you have Michael Cohen. They took over 1,400,000 documents from this dude, and he's still asking if he can cooperate. So let's not make Trump bigger than what he is. He's a buffoon, he's a fool, he's completely unqualified, he's a clown. He's got the IQ of that bottle of tea over there, and I think that temperature is maybe 74. I think that's what Trump's IQ is. And the people who follow him and the people who advocate for him, his base, they're pretty much like him.
Yeah.
They like reality TV.
Yeah.
They're not all that bright.
Yeah.
They didn't try very hard in school. They're not very well educated.
Yeah.
They're racist. They're angry, and they're greedy. That's Trump's base.
Yeah.
So that's going to be there. We
Wrong
can't be worried about them because those fools are going to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned leaks. No leaks from Mueller.
None.
Not
Airtight.
according to Giuliani. He said all these things come out. Mueller, they are making the leaks. All of this coming from them. Now that man is, if he is a lawyer,
He's stupid.
if he was,
He's plain stupid.
he used to be a public prosecutor. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he was mayor. He wanted to become president.
Mm-hmm.
And this man chats such crap things. It makes you wonder where incarnation he ever think. The law school should take back the degree from him. Because he's such a disgrace to the whole thing.
It's not a matter of his intelligence, it's a matter of his lack of integrity. He's just bought up.
He sure lacks that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, the next thing is you mentioned McGowan. McGahn.
Dan McGahn. Yeah.
Plainly, he is not Trump's lawyer. Trump is acting as if he's his lawyer. And I allowed him to. I told him he can cooperate.
No, he's
No,
he's
it's
what-
not you allowing him to.
He's the White House
He
attorney.
is
He's the
the
White-
representative. He is the lawyer for the people,
yep.
not for you, Donald
Yep,
Trump.
yep.
And Trump's too stupid to be able to make that
To make the
distinction.
connection
He
there.
thinks he can order this guy
Yeah.
around. He thinks, more importantly, he thinks he can say and do things that are explicitly illegal in this man's presence
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, Dan, don't you say a word.
yeah.
But don't
And
you
Dan
forget,
McGahn
you
is
know,
like, hey, look, I don't work for you. I work for the people.
Yeah.
And B, I ain't going to jail for you.
Yeah.
Who
Don't
was,
You orange clown, what you
don't
think I'm,
you
think
forget
I'm gonna
this.
suffer for you?
he
On a
went.
government salary?
who was this guy that they took his security clearance first from? What was his name?
Oh,
Well,
better-
anyway, he said Donald Trump. He's serious. Donald Trump is intoxicated with power.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes,
oh,
the
yeah.
one thing he can do, he can give
Yeah.
paroles and he can revoke security clearance and anything he can do with his little tiny hands, he tries
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, he tried to do it.
So
Yeah.
no surprise there.
You know, bear in mind, I was saying that McGahn, he went before Mueller, but he had an attorney. Him and his attorney recognized that Trump would try to play him to be the fall guy and blame him for everything, and so he got himself an
A lawyer.
attorney. He is covering his tracks. Trump got to you see, he's acting like he's some kind of monarch.
Well, that's what he want to
And
be.
this
Yep.
all, let's say, majesty, something like that. Basically, that you're talking against the monarch. You are against the monarch. And Trump thinks once you don't support him, something has to be done. Because this taking away of the clearance,
Yeah.
he clearly said they didn't support me. They're talking against me. He's talking too much. And all those who had anything to say or any connection with anybody who had anything to do with this Russia thing, because there's no collusion, no collusion. Donald Duck, he was the Donald Duck, because he thinks that the more often you say a thing, that makes it right. That's how Hitler thought.
Joseph Goebbels. Tell the
But
big
Donald,
lie and repeat it.
you got a lot of learning to learn.
You know, and the other day, I'm trying to think who it was, but they said something, and then the Trump, the media, what you know, the people that who, you know, believe he's God, was saying no, that's not true, that's not true, and this old lady, the one with the wide mouth and
Which one?
oh wait, I didn't mean to.
Kellyanne Conway, right?
I didn't mean to
Kellyanne
say-
Conway.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
man.
yes. I knew exactly what you
Yeah,
meant.
see, I mean,
Look like a smallmouth bass.
Out of water. Right?
All right,
Right, with a dress
guys.
on.
All right, guys, keep it clean.
oh man,
You know, here's
Alternative
something else.
facts.
Here's something else we need to look at. Just a change or something now.
Well, you don't like fishing?
The Pope,
The Pope.
the Pope, Papa,
The
Yeah.
pimp?
in Philadelphia, and he's apologizing for some 300 plus priests
oh,
who had been sexually abusing kids
Yeah.
for years.
Apology ain't gonna help that.
Well, he didn't make a proper apology. I say I put it in quotes.
Yeah.
He's apologizing. And, you know, the whole thing, it comes down to now he's saying, well, we did not serve the children properly. You know, we did not show the care for these children. But how are you going to show care when your whole system is to bottle up this? You don't want it out. So what we do? We transfer you to another community. And what we are doing when we do that is we are transferring the problem because we didn't address the problem. So a pedophile going to another community, he's still a pedophile.
Right.
And he's still going to do his bidding over there,
Yeah.
which means he is contaminating
More.
another population.
Yeah.
Whilst this one is still rotten and nobody doing anything about it.
Yeah.
What needs to be done?
Well, the thing, they put a statute, a limitation on that issue, but the victim.
Who did?
That's what the law in the Catholic, I guess.
No, the law. You
Yeah.
have you have a certain number of years for most crimes
Yeah.
that you must prosecute within that time frame.
I understand
First
that.
degree
I
murder
was
is
just
an
wondering
exception.
who did that? Whose law?
Well,
So the church law.
No,
Yeah.
no, this is U.S. law.
Okay.
US
You're
law.
from the
You have a statute of
Yeah.
limitation on most crimes.
yeah.
yeah.
And they're
But
using
I
it.
can tell
But
you
the vic-
something.
But the
At
victim,
least here in Michigan, I know there's basically no statute of limitation now for child sexual abuse.
Perhaps not. But I don't think that's the point Chuck was making. I think the point you were making is they use that to their advantage
Yeah.
Right.
to hide these guys
Yeah.
long enough to protect them.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a movie that came out probably almost a decade ago now. It's called Spotlight. Did you ever see this? It was Spotlight was a newspaper in Boston that I take that back. Spotlight was a section in the newspaper of the Boston Herald that talked about current controversial issues. And they had a complete expose on Cardinal Law, LAW, who was a Catholic priest in Boston who had been raping boys for his entire career. And he was finally caught when he was in his 70s. And as they investigated, they found that this was not a Boston problem. It wasn't a Massachusetts problem. It wasn't an East Coast problem. It wasn't a United States problem. It was an international problem. And if you look at the history of the Catholic Church, they have always protected and recruited pedophiles. Now, it's one thing for you to say that if you have a job that says, the job description says you can't have sex with a woman, you're going to attract men who don't want to have sex with women anyway. You're going to attract gay men. Fine. But you have to ask yourself, why do they have so many priests that seem to want to have relations with underage boys and girls in some cases? But
Yes.
and I'll leave it with this. There was a previous scandal that came before Cardinal Law was caught. It was investigated, and as they went into the Cardinal Law investigation, the New York Times followed up with an article, and they showed a map of the United States at the time. This is back in the 90s. And they showed a map of any city with 50,000 people or more. They had a Catholic priest raping child scandal in that city. It's endemic. It's built into the fabric. It's built into the formula. It's built into the batter of that cake.
Yeah.
They are a organization that sanctions and hides and promotes pedophiles.
pedophile.
You were saying, Pat?
Well, we got a couple of seconds. This is a long-time problem. I believe some of those in authority now, from top down, knew what was going on, but just followed the long-standing tradition
Yeah.
of cover-up.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time now, Ahmad.
My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. I mean, we'll catch you on the next blog. Peace.
Peace.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.